Have you ever found yourself hanging on to a relationship or a friendship because it feels safe and familiar? Yet, deep down, you sense it's preventing you from reaching your full potential. It's a tough realization to accept that sometimes, those closest to us, the ones we've shared laughter, tears, and countless memories with, may not be meant to accompany us on our entire journey. It's a stark and sobering truth. But this is where the ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers profound insight into our modern challenges. The Stoics, with their deep understanding of human nature and the pursuit of a fulfilling life, teach us that personal growth often necessitates difficult decisions about who we allow into our inner circle. It's not about cutting people out with cold indifference, rather, it's about intentionally curating our lives, choosing relationships that uplift, inspire, and challenge us to be our best selves. So, if you're standing at that crossroads, feeling the weight of a decision that could redefine your path, know that you're not alone. Today, we'll delve into the core of Stoic wisdom to identify the signs that it's time to lovingly release certain ties, making room for new growth, deeper connections, and a life aligned with your highest virtues. Join me as we embark on this journey together, guided by the timeless teachings of Stoicism. Please watch every part without skipping, as each moment of this exploration could be the one that transforms your life. Number 1. Recognizing growth-stifling relationships. Alright, so let's dive into something that's super important but often gets overlooked: growth-stifling relationships. You know those relationships where you feel like you're just not moving forward? Yeah, those. They're like an anchor dragging you down when you could be soaring. Imagine this: you've got dreams, ambitions, and goals. Maybe you want to start a new hobby, pursue a different career, or just grow as a person. But every time you try to make a move, there's someone in your life who just doesn't get it. They might not outright say it, but their actions, their words, their energy, it's all holding you back. It's like trying to run with weights strapped to your ankles. You're putting in all this effort, but you're not getting anywhere. Now, this doesn't mean they're bad people. Sometimes, people just grow at different paces or in different directions. And that's okay. What's not okay is staying in a situation where you feel stifled. It's like a plant trying to grow in a pot that's too small. You need space, sunlight, nutrients. You need the right environment to flourish. Let's say you've got a friend who always dismisses your ideas. You're excited about a new project, but they're like, "Nah, that's not gonna work," or "Why bother?" It's subtle, but over time, it chips away at your confidence. You start doubting yourself. That's a red flag right there. Friends, partners, anyone close to you should be cheering you on, not tearing you down. And speaking of partners, romantic relationships can be a major source of growth-stifling vibes. Picture this: you're in a relationship where your partner is comfortable with how things are. They're not interested in self-improvement or trying new things. But you are. You want to take a class, start a business, travel the world. But they're content with the status quo. Over time, you start feeling trapped, like you're living the same day over and over again. It's like being stuck in a time loop where nothing changes. That's not what life is supposed to be about. Then there's the aspect of emotional support, or lack thereof. When you're in a relationship where the other person doesn't support your growth, it feels like you're constantly swimming against the tide. You come home after a long day, excited to share your progress, but they're just not interested. Or worse, they belittle your efforts. That hurts, and it's draining. It's like trying to light a fire in the rain. Let's talk about how this ties into Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with people who elevate you. He believed that we become like the people we associate with. So, if you're surrounded by naysayers and doubters, that's going to rub off on you. But if you're with people who inspire you, who push you to be better, you'll rise to the occasion. It's tough, though. Cutting ties with people, especially those we care about, is never easy. But sometimes, it's necessary for your own growth. Think of it as pruning a tree. You cut away the dead branches so the tree can grow stronger and healthier. It's not about being selfish, it's about self-care and prioritizing your growth. And don't forget, you deserve to be in relationships that nurture and support you. Life is too short to be held back by anyone or anything. Surround yourself with people who light a fire in your soul, who believe in you even when you doubt yourself. These are the relationships that will help you grow, thrive, and become the best version of yourself. So, take a good look at the relationships in your life. Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Be honest with yourself. It's not always easy, but recognizing and addressing growth-stifling relationships is a crucial step towards living a fulfilling, purposeful life. Remember, you have the power to choose who you let into your inner circle. Choose wisely. Number 2, navigating negative emotions with Stoic wisdom. Let's talk about something we all face at some point: negative emotions. You know, those gnawing feelings of anger, sadness, frustration, or even resentment. These emotions can hit us hard, especially in relationships. But here's the kicker: Stoicism, that ancient philosophy, has some pretty rad tools to help us navigate these choppy emotional waters. So, picture this: you're in a relationship, and things start getting rocky. Maybe your partner said something that really ticked you off, or maybe there's a recurring issue that just won't go away. Negative emotions start bubbling up. What do? Do you lash out? Do you bottle it up? Or do you turn to the wisdom of the Stoics? First off, the Stoics teach us about the power of perception. Marcus Aurelius, one of the big names in Stoicism, often reminded himself that it's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. So, let's say your partner forgot your anniversary. Instead of immediately thinking, "They don't care about me," try to step back. What's the real issue here? Is it possible they're just overwhelmed with work or personal stress? Changing your perspective can often diffuse a lot of that initial anger or hurt. Now, let's dive deeper. Negative emotions aren't just about the immediate trigger, they're often tied to our expectations and desires. Epictetus, another Stoic sage, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If you expect your partner to always be perfect and to always meet your needs exactly when and how you want, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Adjusting your expectations can be a game changer. No one is perfect, and recognizing that can help you respond more calmly and rationally when things go wrong. Okay, so you've adjusted your perspective and expectations, but you're still feeling those negative vibes. What now? The Stoics were big fans of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Sounds grim, right? But it's actually a brilliant tactic. It means mentally preparing yourself for potential challenges or disappointments. So, next time you're anticipating a tough conversation with your partner, spend a few minutes imagining different scenarios and how you might respond. This practice can make you feel more grounded and less reactive when the moment actually arrives. Now, let's get real for a moment. Sometimes, no matter how much we try to manage our emotions, we still feel overwhelmed. That's where another Stoic tool comes in handy: journaling. Yeah, I know, it sounds a bit old school, but trust me on this. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process them. It's like having a conversation with yourself. You can ask yourself why you're feeling a certain way, what triggered it, and how you might deal with it more effectively next time. But what if, after all this reflection and effort, the negative emotions just won't go away? Well, here's a tough pill to swallow. Maybe it's a sign that the relationship isn't right for you. The Stoics were all about living in accordance with nature, which includes recognizing when something, or someone, is not a good fit. If a relationship consistently brings out more negativity than positivity, it might be time to seriously consider whether it's worth continuing. Remember, ending a relationship doesn't mean you failed. It's actually an act of courage and wisdom to recognize when something is no longer serving your well-being. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, would argue that staying in a toxic relationship is a far greater failure than choosing to walk away. So, in summary, use the wisdom of the Stoics to navigate those negative emotions. Shift your perspective, adjust your expectations, prepare for challenges, journal your feelings, and know when it's time to let go. It's not always easy, but it's about making choices that lead to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Number 3, the dangers of manipulation and control. Next, let's discuss something super important: manipulation and control in relationships. We've all heard about it, maybe even experienced it, but it's crucial to understand why it's such a big red flag. So, grab your coffee or tea, and let's dive into this together. First off, manipulation in any relationship is like a sneaky little thief. It quietly sneaks in and starts stealing your joy, your confidence, and even your sense of self. Imagine you're with someone who constantly tries to twist situations to their advantage, always making you feel like the bad guy. They might use guilt trips, silent treatment, or even play the victim card to get what they want. It's exhausting, right? It's like walking on eggshells all the time, never knowing when the next trap will spring. This kind of behavior is not just toxic, it's downright harmful. Now, let's talk about control. Control in a relationship is like being in a beautiful garden but being told which flowers you can admire and which ones you can't. At first, it might seem like they just care about you. They want to know where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. But soon enough, it becomes suffocating. They start making decisions for you, telling you what to wear, who to hang out with, and how to live your life. It's like having a shadow that never leaves you alone. And trust me, that's no way to live. What's worse is that manipulation and control often come wrapped in the disguise of love and care. "I only want what's best for you," they say. But let's be real here, true love and care are about respect and freedom, not control and manipulation. When someone truly loves you, they want to see you flourish, not diminish. They celebrate your independence and your choices. They trust you and give you space to be yourself. One of the sneakiest tactics manipulators use is gaslighting. This is when they make you doubt your reality. You might bring up something that upset you, and they'll twist it around, making you feel like you're overreacting or even imagining things that never happened, or "you're too sensitive," are their favorite lines. Over time, this can seriously mess with your mind. You start questioning your own judgment, and before you know it, you've lost your sense of reality. So, how do you spot these red flags? Pay attention to how you feel. Do you often feel confused, anxious, or like you're walking on eggshells? Do you find yourself constantly apologizing, even when you haven't done anything wrong? Are you losing touch with your friends and family because your partner doesn't approve of them? These are all signs that something's not right. Remember, a healthy relationship should feel like a partnership, not a dictatorship. It's about mutual respect, trust, and understanding. Both partners should feel free to express themselves without fear of judgment or retribution. If you feel like you're losing yourself in the relationship, it's a major sign that you need to step back and reassess. Let's be honest, ending a relationship is never easy. It can be scary and painful, especially if you've invested a lot of time and emotion into it. But staying in a relationship where you're being manipulated or controlled is far worse. It chips away at your self-esteem, your happiness, and your overall well-being. In the end, you deserve to be with someone who respects you for who you are, who values your opinions and supports your dreams. Don't settle for less. Life is too short to spend it with someone who doesn't see your worth. Trust your instincts and have the courage to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't make you feel valued and loved. So, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and know that you deserve better. It's time to take control of your life and your happiness. You've got this. Number 4, identifying harmful relationship dynamics. One of the most crucial aspects of any relationship is recognizing toxic dynamics. It's like being able to tell when your car is making a weird noise. You know something's off, but pinpointing it can be tricky. So, let's break it down in a way that's easy to digest. First off, ever get that feeling in your gut that something just isn't right? Trust that feeling. When you're in a relationship where you constantly feel uneasy or on edge, it's a massive red flag. It's like your body's internal alarm system going off. You shouldn't have to second-guess yourself all the time. Your relationship should be a source of comfort, not anxiety. Now, let's talk about the blame game. If you find that every disagreement ends with you being the scapegoat, it's time to take a step back. A healthy relationship is about sharing responsibility, not finger-pointing. If your partner is always deflecting blame onto you, it's a sign of deeper issues. It's like being in a boat where only one person is rowing and the other is poking holes in the bottom. Eventually, you're going to sink. Communication is another biggie. Picture this, you're talking, but it feels like you're speaking different languages. Misunderstandings are normal, but if your conversations consistently leave you feeling unheard or invalidated, that's a serious problem. It's as if you're talking to a brick wall, and that wall isn't interested in your feelings or thoughts. Then there's the issue of control. Ever feel like your partner is more like a parent than an equal? If they're constantly trying to dictate your actions, choices, or even thoughts, it's a clear sign of a toxic dynamic. Relationships should be about mutual respect and freedom, not one person holding the reins while the other follows orders. Let's not forget about support, or lack thereof. If you're chasing your dreams and your partner is more of a dream crusher than a cheerleader, that's a bad sign. You deserve someone who celebrates your victories, not someone who constantly finds flaws in your aspirations. It's like having a plant and instead of watering it, they're dumping salt on it. Emotional manipulation is another sneaky culprit. This can come in the form of guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or playing the victim. If your partner makes you feel like you're always the villain in their story, it's time to reevaluate. Healthy relationships should lift you up, not tear you down. It's like playing a game where the rules are constantly changing to keep you losing. And how about consistency? One day they're all in, and the next day they're cold as ice. This roller coaster of emotions can leave you feeling dizzy and unsure of where you stand. It's exhausting to constantly wonder if today's going to be a good day or a bad day. Consistency is key. You should feel secure and know what to expect. Now, let's get real about growth. In any good relationship, both people should be growing together. If you feel stunted, like you're the same person you were when you started, or worse, you're going backward, it's a sign something's wrong. Your partner should inspire you to be your best self, not hold you back. One more thing, reciprocity. Relationships are a two-way street. If you're always the one giving, whether it's time, effort, or emotional energy, and getting little to nothing in return, it's time to take stock. It's like a bank account. If you keep making withdrawals without deposits, you'll end up bankrupt. Finally, trust your instincts. If you're reading this and nodding along, thinking, yeah, that sounds like my relationship, then you probably already know what you need to do. Sometimes, the hardest part is just acknowledging that it's time to move on. But remember, you deserve to be in a relationship where you feel valued, respected, and happy. Ending a relationship is never easy, but recognizing these harmful dynamics is the first step toward finding something better. Number 5. Reality versus illusions in relationships. Next, let's dive deep into the idea of reality versus illusions in relationships. This one's crucial because, let's face it, we all sometimes wear those rose-tinted glasses and miss the bigger picture. So, here we go. Have you ever found yourself daydreaming about how perfect your relationship is, only to have reality slap you in the face? Yeah, we've all been there. It's like being in a movie where everything is flawless, and then the credits roll, and you realize you're not even in a theater. You're standing in your messy kitchen, wondering why your partner left the milk out again. But here's the kicker, it's not about the milk. It's about seeing things as they are, not as you wish they were. Picture this, you're dating someone who seems amazing on paper. They're charming, good-looking, and say all the right things. But something feels off. Maybe they're not as attentive as they should be, or their actions don't quite match their words. Deep down, you know something's not right, but you push those thoughts aside. Why? Because the idea of them, the illusion you've created, is too enticing to let go of. Illusions in relationships are like those fancy filters on social media. They make everything look perfect, but it's all a facade. Reality, on the other hand, is unfiltered and raw. It's the late-night arguments, the differences in values, and the little annoyances that you can't Photoshop away. And these unfiltered moments? They're the true test of a relationship. Let's talk about why we cling to these illusions. Sometimes, it's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of admitting we were wrong about someone. Other times, it's comfort. It's easier to hold on to the fantasy than to confront the harsh truths. But here's the deal, living in an illusion doesn't do anyone any good. It's like building a house on sand. Sooner or later, it's going to crumble. You might be thinking, but what if I'm just being too critical? There's a fine line between being realistic and being overly critical, and it's important to know the difference. Being realistic means acknowledging both the good and the bad, and assessing whether the relationship truly meets your needs and values. It's about seeing your partner for who they are, flaws and all, and deciding if that's someone you want to build a life with. Now, let's flip the script. What if you're the one creating illusions about yourself? Maybe you're pretending to be someone you're not to keep the peace or to make your partner happy. This, my friend, is just as dangerous. Authenticity is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. If you can't be yourself, then what's the point? So, how do you break free from these illusions? Start by having honest conversations, with yourself and with your partner. Reflect on your relationship and ask yourself tough questions. Are you truly happy, or are you just comfortable? Do you feel respected and valued, or are you constantly compromising your needs? It's also important to pay attention to your partner's actions, not just their words. Words can be deceiving, but actions rarely lie. Do they follow through on their promises? Do they show up for you when it matters? These are the signs that reveal the reality of your relationship. Breaking free from illusions can be painful. It might mean ending a relationship you've invested time and emotions into. But remember, it's better to face the truth now than to waste more time in a relationship that's built on falsehoods. Embrace the reality, no matter how harsh it may be. It's the first step towards finding a relationship that's truly fulfilling. In the end, reality isn't always pretty, but it's where genuine connections are formed. So, take off those rose-tinted glasses and see your relationship for what it truly is. You deserve a love that's real, not just an illusion. Number 6, the non-negotiables, values and reciprocity. The real deal breakers in any relationship are the non-negotiables. You know, those core values and the whole give and take thing. If you're constantly butting heads over these, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. So, what do we mean by values and reciprocity, and why are they so critical? Let's break it down. Values are like the compass guiding our lives. They're our beliefs, our principles, and what we hold dear. Imagine you're all about honesty, integrity, and kindness, but your partner? Not so much. Maybe they're more about bending the truth, or they don't really think twice about stepping on others to get ahead. It's not just a minor disagreement, it's a fundamental clash. This isn't about who's right or wrong, it's about two very different outlooks on life. When your core values don't align, it's like you're speaking entirely different languages. And let's be real, how long can you keep pretending you understand each other? Now, reciprocity, that's the heartbeat of any healthy relationship. It's the back and forth, the give and take. Relationships should be like a dance, not a tug of war. If you're always the one giving, making sacrifices, and going the extra mile while your partner is just cruising along, never lifting a finger, it's exhausting. You're not a doormat, and you shouldn't be treated like one. Stoicism teaches us to value our worth and not let ourselves be drained by one-sided relationships. If they're not willing to meet you halfway, that's a huge red flag. Picture this, you're always the one planning dates, making the effort to keep in touch, and supporting them through thick and thin. But when you need a shoulder to lean on, they're nowhere to be found. Or worse, they make you feel guilty for asking. That's not love, that's being taken for granted. And trust me, you deserve better than that. We all have our non-negotiables, those lines in the sand we won't cross. For some, it might be loyalty. For others, it's respect or trust. Whatever yours are, they're non-negotiable for a reason. They're the foundation upon which you build your relationships. If someone keeps stepping over these lines, it's not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about knowing your worth and not settling for less. Let's get a bit more personal here. Think about a time when you felt completely aligned with someone, where your values just clicked. Maybe it was with a friend, a family member, or even a past relationship. Remember how effortless it felt? That's what we're aiming for. On the flip side, recall a time when you were constantly compromising, bending over backward, and feeling undervalued. It's draining, right? Life's too short to keep pouring your energy into a black hole. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless, it's about being wise with our emotions. It's about recognizing what serves us and what drains us. If a relationship consistently clashes with your core values and leaves you feeling empty, it's time to reevaluate. Are you staying out of comfort, fear of loneliness, or because you've invested so much time already? These are tough questions, but they're necessary. Ending a relationship is never easy, but staying in one that doesn't honor who you are is far worse. It's like trying to flourish in toxic soil. You owe it to yourself to be in relationships that uplift you, that are built on mutual respect and shared values. So, take a step back and ask yourself, are my values being honored? Is there a balance in our give and take? If the answer is no, it might be time to move on. Remember, you're not just leaving something behind, you're making space for something better. In the end, it's about living a life true to yourself. Hold on to your non-negotiables, and don't let anyone make you feel guilty for doing so. You deserve a relationship where you feel seen, heard, and valued, one where your values and reciprocity are not just words but a lived reality. Number 7, addressing abuse and failed communication. Now, let's get into a tough but crucial topic, addressing abuse and failed communication in relationships. Picture this, you're in a relationship, and things have gone off the rails. You're feeling drained, constantly walking on eggshells, and it's like your voice is lost in the wind. This is not just a rough patch. We're talking about consistent patterns of abuse and communication breakdowns that leave you feeling trapped. Abuse can take many forms. It's not just about physical harm, although that's a clear and serious sign. Emotional and psychological abuse can be just as damaging, if not more. It's the constant criticism, the manipulation, the gaslighting, making you question your own reality. It's those subtle digs that erode your self-esteem over time. Imagine someone constantly belittling your dreams or making you feel worthless. Over time, this can chip away at your confidence, making you feel like a shadow of your former self. Communication? It's the lifeblood of any relationship. When that breaks down, it's like the foundation of a house crumbling. Maybe you've tried to talk about your feelings, but your partner just doesn't listen. Or worse, they turn it around on you, making you feel like you're the problem. Ever had those arguments where you end up more confused and hurt than before? That's a sign. Healthy relationships thrive on open, honest, and respectful communication. If you're constantly met with defensiveness or outright silence, that's a red flag waving high. Let's get personal here. Think about your own experiences. Have you ever felt like no matter what you say, it's just not getting through? You keep trying to explain your side, but it's like talking to a wall. That frustration builds up, and before you know it, you're avoiding conversations altogether because it feels pointless. That's not how it should be. In a healthy relationship, both partners are invested in understanding each other, even when it's tough. Now, let's talk about the aftermath of these interactions. When you're constantly facing abuse or a lack of communication, it leaves scars. Not all wounds are visible. Emotional scars can take a long time to heal, and sometimes, you might not even realize how deep they go until you're out of that toxic environment. You might start doubting yourself, wondering if you're too sensitive or if you're the problem. Newsflash, you're not. Recognizing the abuse and communication breakdown is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. You can't change someone else's behavior, but you can decide how to respond to it. If you're in a situation where abuse and failed communication are constants, it might be time to consider stepping away. It's not about giving up, it's about protecting your well-being and mental health. You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel safe, heard, and valued. Breaking away from an abusive relationship is never easy. It requires strength, courage, and often a support system. Don't be afraid to reach out to friends, family, or professionals for help. There's no shame in seeking support. Sometimes, an outsider's perspective can be the push you need to make the decision that's best for you. Remember, your happiness and peace of mind are paramount. No relationship is worth sacrificing your self-worth and mental health. If you've identified these patterns of abuse and failed communication, take a step back and reflect. You owe it to yourself to live a life free from constant turmoil and negativity. In the end, it's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing that you deserve better, a relationship where love, respect, and open communication are the norms, not the exceptions. So, listen to that inner voice, trust your instincts, and take the steps necessary to build the life and relationships you truly deserve. Number 8. Seeking tranquility in connections. Another profound reason why you might need to end a relationship is seeking tranquility. We all crave peace, right? Imagine coming home after a long day, and instead of feeling relaxed, you're bombarded with chaos and stress. It's like walking into a storm when what you need is a gentle breeze. Let's chat about this. First off, let's think about what tranquility means. It's that sweet, serene feeling where everything just feels right. Your mind isn't racing, your heart isn't pounding, and you're not constantly on edge. It's like being on a calm beach with the waves gently lapping at your feet. In relationships, this tranquility is vital. It's about having a space where you can breathe, be yourself, and feel supported. If your relationship feels more like a battlefield than a sanctuary, it might be time to rethink things. Now, let's get real. How many times have you been in a relationship where drama seems to be the main course, with a side of stress? Arguments, misunderstandings, and constant tension can wear you down. It's like having a thorn in your side, always there, always painful. The Stoics believed in seeking peace and harmony within themselves and their surroundings. They'd argue that if someone disrupts your inner peace consistently, it's worth considering a change. Think about this: you're with someone who's always negative. They're complaining about their job, their friends, the weather, you name it. After a while, it starts to drag you down too. Your once sunny outlook on life becomes clouded with their negativity. You start to feel drained, maybe even a bit resentful. This isn't the kind of energy you need in your life. Let's flip the script and talk about those moments when you actually feel at peace in a relationship. Picture this: you've had a tough day. You're exhausted, your boss was on your case, and you're just not feeling it. But when you get home, your partner is there, ready to listen, to comfort you. They don't add to your stress, they help dissolve it. They're like your personal oasis. This is what a healthy, tranquil relationship should feel like. If your reality is far from this, it's a red flag waving right in your face. You see, tranquility in a relationship isn't just about avoiding fights. It's about creating a supportive environment where both of you can thrive. It's about feeling understood and valued. When your partner truly listens to you, respects your feelings, and supports your growth, that's where tranquility blooms. But if you're constantly feeling unheard or disrespected, it's like trying to plant flowers in a desert. It just doesn't work. Let's talk about the impact of a tranquil relationship on your overall well-being. When you're in a peaceful relationship, it reflects in every aspect of your life. Your stress levels go down, your mood improves, and you start to enjoy life more. On the flip side, a tumultuous relationship can wreak havoc on your mental and physical health. You might find yourself anxious, depressed, or even physically ill. Your body and mind are telling you that something's off. A tranquil relationship also fosters personal growth. When you're not constantly dealing with drama, you have the mental space to pursue your passions, hobbies, and goals. Your partner should be someone who encourages you to be the best version of yourself, not someone who holds you back. If you're always putting out fires in your relationship, you don't have the energy to focus on what really matters to you. Consider this scenario: you're with someone who's always criticizing you. Nothing you do is ever good enough. Over time, this wears you down. You start doubting yourself, losing confidence. This is the opposite of tranquility. You deserve to be with someone who lifts you up, who sees your worth and helps you see it too. If your relationship feels like a constant struggle for approval, it's a sign that tranquility is missing. Finally, let's not forget the importance of mutual respect. In a tranquil relationship, both partners respect each other's boundaries, feelings, and needs. There's no place for manipulation, control, or disrespect. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly trying to avoid conflict or appease your partner, it's time to take a hard look at the relationship. You deserve peace, not perpetual stress. So, there you have it. Seeking tranquility in your connections is about finding that calm, supportive space where you can truly be yourself and feel at ease. If your relationship is filled with tension, negativity, or constant strife, it might be time to move on. Remember, you deserve peace and happiness. Don't settle for less. Number 9. Inconsistency with virtue. In the philosophy of Stoicism, virtue is paramount. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, emphasized living a life in accordance with virtue, which encompasses wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These principles are not just abstract ideals but practical guidelines for daily living. When we apply these to relationships, they provide profound insights into when it might be necessary to end a relationship. Let's delve deeper into how inconsistency with virtue can be a crucial, albeit lesser known, sign that it's time to move on. To understand why inconsistency with virtue is so significant, we need to grasp the Stoic concept of virtue. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest good and the foundation of a fulfilling life. It is through virtue that we achieve eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or a state of true happiness. Virtue involves living in harmony with nature and reason, making choices that are morally sound and beneficial to our character. Wisdom, in Stoic terms, is the ability to navigate life's complexities with discernment and insight. In the context of a relationship, wisdom manifests as making thoughtful decisions that foster mutual growth and understanding. If a relationship consistently leads you to make unwise decisions, perhaps due to emotional manipulation, constant conflict, or poor communication, it indicates a misalignment with this cardinal virtue. For example, if you find yourself frequently compromising your values or engaging in harmful behaviors, it's a sign that the relationship is steering you away from wisdom. Courage in Stoicism is not just about facing external dangers but also about confronting uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our circumstances. It takes courage to acknowledge when a relationship is detrimental to our well-being. This might mean recognizing patterns of behavior that are damaging, such as disrespect, dishonesty, or neglect. A Stoic would argue that staying in such a relationship out of fear of being alone or societal pressure is a failure of courage. True courage involves the strength to end a relationship that hinders your moral and personal development, even if it is painful in the short term. Justice, another key virtue, involves treating others with fairness, respect, and dignity. In a healthy relationship, both partners should feel valued and respected. If you find that your relationship is characterized by injustice, be it through unequal power dynamics, lack of mutual respect, or emotional or physical abuse, this is a clear indication that the relationship is not virtuous. Staying in such a relationship means participating in an unjust dynamic, which is contrary to Stoic principles. A relationship should be a partnership of equals, where both individuals uphold each other's dignity and contribute to each other's well-being. Temperance, or moderation, is the virtue that helps us regulate our desires and impulses. It encourages us to avoid excesses and to seek balance in all aspects of life. In relationships, temperance can be seen in how we manage our emotions and actions towards our partner. If a relationship leads to excessive emotional turmoil, such as constant jealousy, anger, or dependency, it reflects a lack of temperance. For a Stoic, maintaining emotional equilibrium is crucial. A relationship that constantly disrupts this balance is a sign that it is not aligned with the virtue of temperance. When evaluating your relationship through the lens of Stoic virtue, ask yourself the following questions. Question number 1. Does this relationship help me make wise decisions? Question number 2. Do I have the courage to face the reality of this relationship? Question number 3. Is this relationship just and fair for both parties? Question number 4. Does this relationship allow me to practice temperance and maintain emotional balance? If the answer to these questions is consistently negative, it may be time to reconsider the relationship. A relationship that does not support your pursuit of virtue is ultimately detrimental to your growth and well-being. Ending such a relationship is not a failure but an act of self-respect and alignment with your highest values. Inconsistency with virtue is a profound sign that a relationship may no longer be serving your best interests. By adhering to the Stoic principles of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, you can make decisions that honor your true self and promote a life of flourishing. Remember, a relationship should enhance your journey towards virtue, not hinder it. Ending a relationship that compromises your virtues is a step towards a more authentic and fulfilling life, in true Stoic fashion. Number 10. Lack of mutual growth. Alright, so let's talk about something super important in any relationship: growth. I'm not just talking about growing old together, but actually growing as individuals. Imagine you're in a garden, yes, a garden. You're a plant, and your partner is a plant. If you're not growing, you're kinda just there, stuck in the dirt, right? Nobody wants to be stuck in the dirt. When you're with someone, there should be this mutual effort to push each other to become better versions of yourselves. It's like having a gym buddy. You spot them, they spot you. You lift each other up, literally and metaphorically. But what happens if one person is doing all the heavy lifting? It gets tiring, fast. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you're the only one pushing for change or improvement? Maybe you're the one always signing up for new courses, reading up on self-improvement, trying new hobbies, or setting goals. And your partner? They're just chilling, happy with the status quo. It can start to feel like you're dragging a weight around, right? It's exhausting and honestly, pretty frustrating. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine you're the one who's kind of stuck. You're content, but your partner is always off to the next big thing, always improving, always growing. It might feel like you're being left behind, and that's not a great feeling either. Relationships should be a two-way street where both parties are moving forward together, even if at different paces. Here's a little story. Picture John and Emma. John is super ambitious. He's always learning new things, getting certifications, hitting the gym, and just generally trying to be his best self. Emma, on the other hand, is comfortable where she is. She's happy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but she doesn't really have any desire to change or grow. Over time, John starts to feel like Emma isn't supporting his ambitions. He feels like he's pulling all the weight in their growth journey. Emma starts to feel pressured and maybe even resentful because she's being pushed to do things she's not interested in. So, what happens here? They start to drift apart. They have different priorities and different visions for their futures. This gap keeps widening until it feels like they're living separate lives. The connection that was once strong is now just there. It's sad, but it's a reality for many. When you're not growing together, there's this invisible barrier that starts to form. You might not see it at first, but over time, it becomes this wall that's hard to break down. Conversations start to dry up because you're no longer sharing new experiences or ideas. The spark that was once there starts to fade because growth and excitement go hand in hand. If you're not excited about your life, how can you be excited about your relationship? It's important to communicate. Have those heart-to-heart talks about your goals and dreams. If you feel like there's a lack of mutual growth, bring it up. It's not about blaming each other, but about understanding where you both stand. Maybe your partner doesn't realize how important growth is to you, or maybe they've been growing in ways you haven't noticed. Sometimes, it's just a matter of perspective. And hey, if you've had these conversations and nothing changes, it might be time to reevaluate. It doesn't mean you don't care about each other. It just means your paths might be diverging, and that's okay. Life is too short to be stuck in a situation where you're not growing, learning, and becoming a better version of yourself. Remember, a healthy relationship should feel like two people dancing together, moving in sync, sometimes leading, sometimes following, but always in harmony. If you feel like you're dancing alone, it might be time to find a new partner who's ready to grow and groove with you. Number 11, when relief becomes a sign. In the realm of human relationships, there exists a multitude of signs that can signal the need to reconsider our connections with others. One often overlooked but profoundly telling sign is the constant feeling of relief or freedom when you're not around your partner. From a Stoic perspective, this feeling holds significant weight and can offer deep insights into the health and nature of your relationship. Stoicism teaches us to seek tranquility and live in harmony with nature. Central to Stoic philosophy is the idea that we should focus on what we can control and accept what we cannot. Emotions, while natural, should be observed and understood for what they are, responses to our perceptions rather than absolute truths. When applying Stoic principles to relationships, it's essential to evaluate how our emotions reflect the reality of our circumstances. Feeling relief when not around your partner can be a powerful indicator of underlying issues. This relief is not merely a transient escape but a window into the true state of your emotional and mental well-being within the relationship. Relief, in this context, is more than just a momentary respite from conflict or stress. It is a sustained sense of ease and lightness that emerges when you are away from your partner. If you notice that you consistently feel happier, more relaxed, or more at peace during your partner's absence, it may suggest that the relationship is causing you more strain than joy. From a Stoic viewpoint, this feeling of relief can be seen as your inner self striving for equilibrium. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often wrote about the importance of inner peace and the need to align our external lives with our internal values. If a relationship disrupts your inner peace more than it contributes to it, it might be time to reassess its place in your life. Stoicism encourages regular self-reflection and mindfulness about our actions and emotions. Journaling, a practice advocated by many Stoics, can help you track your feelings over time and identify patterns. If your journal reveals a recurring sense of relief when apart from your partner, this is not something to be dismissed lightly. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, advised us to question our judgments and assumptions continually. Why do you feel better without your partner? What aspects of your relationship are causing stress or discomfort? Are these issues resolvable, or do they stem from fundamental incompatibilities? Engaging in such introspective inquiries can clarify whether the relief you feel is a temporary escape from specific problems or a sign of deeper, unresolved tensions. Another key Stoic principle is the acceptance of things beyond our control. Relationships, while influenced by our actions and choices, also depend on the dynamics between two individuals. You cannot control how another person behaves or feels. If your partner's actions or the nature of your relationship consistently lead to negative emotions or a desire for distance, it may be beyond your ability to change these fundamental dynamics. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher and statesman, wrote about the importance of making decisions that align with our true nature and values. Staying in a relationship that consistently detracts from your well-being contradicts this principle. It is not an act of wisdom to persist in a situation that repeatedly disrupts your peace of mind. Ending a relationship is often fraught with fear and uncertainty. However, Stoicism teaches us to face challenges with courage and rationality. If a relationship consistently leads you to feel relief only in its absence, it may be time to consider the difficult but necessary step of ending it. This decision, while painful, can ultimately lead to a more authentic and fulfilling life. In conclusion, the consistent feeling of relief when away from your partner is a lesser-known but powerful sign that the relationship may not be serving your best interests. By applying Stoic principles of self-reflection, acceptance, and courage, you can navigate this challenging situation with wisdom and grace, ultimately making decisions that lead to a more harmonious and tranquil life. Thank you for joining me in exploring these 11 crucial signs that might indicate it's time to reconsider your relationships. Remember, the wisdom of the Stoics teaches us to prioritize our inner peace and personal growth above all else. If you found value in today's video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from this insight. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our journey to a more stoic and fulfilling life. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Have you encountered any of these signs in your relationships? How did you handle it? Let's continue this conversation and support each other in the pursuit of wisdom and tranquility. Stay strong, stay wise, and until next time, keep cultivating your inner peace. Thanks for watching.